You have arrived at Let the MLS Work for You, Paragon Connect's Collaboration Center. We are going to be covering a lot of information, and for that reason, I am recording this class. I will be emailing the link to each of you, as well as posting it on our webpage at gprmls.com at the Training HQ. So you can find it there. I'll try to remember to stop periodically and ask if there's questions, and I'm leaving it open at the end for some Q&A at that point too. So let's go ahead and get going. But first, I would like to introduce to you or remind you of who is your GPR MLS team, starting with Renee Westphal. Renee is our MLS data and customer support administrator, handles all the general assistance, data integrity, think accuracy, as well as our expert with data feeds, data vendor access, your broker, third-party websites, the realtor.com, Zillow, all of those things. Beth Powers is our MLS compliance administrator. She handles all of the MLS rules compliance. She is the expert on that, actually. She also handles data integrity or system issues. Paragon's not working quite right. That would be a Beth call. She also is the liaison for our MLS users group. So if you're thinking that you'd like to be a little bit more involved in maybe some of those rules or just want to learn a little bit more, that's a great place to start. Just give her a shout and she'd be happy to chat with you about that. And then Denise Mache is our MLS operations manager. She has been with the MLS for 18 years. So there is a ton of knowledge, a ton of experience there. And we are so very happy to have her leading our team, keeping us going in the right direction so that we can help you guys better. And of course, there's me. I'm JC. I am your MLS trainer. If you didn't know that you have an MLS trainer, you definitely do now. I work with all of our users on all things MLS that are inside Paragon. So Paragon Pro, Paragon Professional. I think that's one and the same. Sorry. Paragon Connect, CRS data, RPR, the market stats. If you've got questions about how to use those or not sure, give me a shout. I'd be happy to get you some resources or help you with that. Prior to that, I was an agent, just like you guys are, and started that, probably 26 years ago in Colorado. And I moved. And so I've practiced in Missouri as well as right here in Nebraska using Paragon. I think that helps out a little bit when we're talking. You can reach us Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:45. You can also find our contact information at gprmls.com/stage. You can call us, you can text us, and you can email us. We do our best to get back to you right away. If you don't hear something within 24 hours, please reach out again because we're not ignoring you. And it just means that we didn't get your message. So the Collaboration Center, what is it? Well, it is your client's home search app, and it's branded to you and powered by the MLS. They actually have an app that they can use with you to search for properties within the MLS, communicate with you, receive listings from you, all of that stuff. And that's what we're going to learn today. It pairs up with your app. There's an agent app. If you're not aware of it, it's Paragon Connect. The two work together for you. And that is what we're going to learn about today. Your clients do have to have an invitation from you in order to use it. So they can't just go to their store of choice, whether that's Google Play or the App Store with Apple. They can't just go download it and then start using it. They actually have to get an invitation from you. And Paragon takes care of that for you as well. They handle all of that. And we're going to learn how you can utilize those tools today. Some great agent key features of using that in conjunction with your Paragon Connect app is that you can add, delete, and edit your contacts right there from your phone. You can email your contacts or text your contacts as well as calling them. You can access their search activity. You can view messages between the two of you. The Collab Center site is associated to the contact and you can view it. If you're working with a seller, you can also use the Collab Center because they can be set up as a seller and then they can view a seller report that you can go over with them about what's happening with their listing within the MLS environment. You can manage the safe searches with those contacts. You can recommend listings. You're going to get push notifications for your buyer or seller comments. So it's all right there. You don't have to go looking for it because you have text messages in your text messaging app and you've got emails in your emailing app and you've got phone calls. All of that can be housed right here for you and help you out. Now, the Collaboration Center is an app. It is meant to be used for your clients so that they can collaborate with you. They can review the listings. They can favorite them. They can mark them as a possibility or reject them, and they have to download the app. Now, in order to get that, they're going to get an invitation from you. Within there, it's got a little key code that the system does for you. You don't have to make it up. And they go to the App Store of their choice, They find the Collaboration Center app. They then ask them for a key. When they put in that key, it then brings them to their Collaboration Center branded to you. We're going to look at that today so you can see what they're seeing, what you're seeing, and how to get that to work. Some key client features are the fact that it's an app. It's no longer just getting emails. They're going to get emails, but they're also going to get notifications in their app, and it's going to function like an app. In the world that we are in today, everything has an app, right? I think I went to McDonald's the other day and they asked me if I was on the app or not. So we have an app now, Paragon provided. Their webpage is dedicated to each of them. So it's just built for them. It's going to display listings that are matching the defined search criteria that you're putting in. They can, again, that favorite, possibility, and rejected that we are all familiar with, they can do that still. They can send and receive comments directly to you, and you can respond to those on any listing that they're viewing. They can set up personal tags. They can search for properties and save those and set save searches for themselves, and you're going to be able to see that. Sellers are going to be able to see market activity related to their listing. So it's a really cool thing. If you haven't been using it, I'm excited for you to try it out. Hopefully at the end of this class, you'll be excited to set your own self up so you can kind of play with it a little bit if you haven't already. We're going to leave this and we're going to go right into Paragon Connect. Let me move some things around here. Okay, so I am in Paragon Connect right now. I logged in before we got started. What you're looking at is my Paragon Connect within my training environment. So it's not a live site. It's a site that might look a little different from yours. I did customize a little bit, but what you're seeing is my dashboard. Now, for those of you that this might be new, let me talk about what Paragon Connect is. Paragon Connect is your MLS as well as Paragon Professional. This is what your Paragon Professional is. I call it the more traditional or the more robust version, but it doesn't play nice when we try to use it on our mobile devices, our phones, our tablets, our iPads. It doesn't like to conform with it. It's real slow. So they came out with the app. You can be in Paragon Professional and go directly to Paragon Connect if you want to by clicking on this little icon. We'll then open up your Paragon Connect app so you can use it on your computer if you want. You can use it 100% of the time if you'd like. But this does play nice because it is an app when it comes to your phone or your mobile devices. So what we're looking at, again, is your dashboard. You've got your main menu up here on the upper left-hand corner, these three little lines. And should you click on it, you're going to have a lot of different choices that you can choose from, including going back over to Paragon Professional if you wanted to. I've got a dashboard tab. I have a sellers tab, which is going to be showing me my listings and sellers if I've associated them together. I have a search bar here. That's your power search. And if you put in the first three of anything, whether it's a house number or letters, you're looking for a street that begins with FAR, it will start pulling up what it finds. And it starts with Google Maps and brings up properties. Then it moves on into listings. And then it moves on into seeing if you have any contacts that begin with that. And then it moves on down into users. So maybe you're trying to get a hold of another agent. You can do it that way, or even an office. So that's really handy to have. And here is your near me search. You can click on that and it will pull up a map and it will bring up the listings that are near wherever it is you're at. And so that's a great tool if you're out and about and you see a property that you want to know what it's for sale and you want to know all the details, or maybe you're working an open house or your client saw something when you were going to meet, you can just pull it right up that way. You've got some customization that you can do right up here in your upper right. You've got it's a little 4-square thing with, I don't know, three squares and a plus button. That is your customization. You'll notice that when I hover on that, it tells me, so it's a little bit of a cheat sheet there, but you can customize how you want your dashboard to look of this. You can, if you don't want to see buyer activity, you can choose to get rid of that by just saying, hey, I want none. And then you've got all these things. These are called widgets. And these are the different sections of your dashboard. So your buyer activity, your unread comments, there's lots of choices. You can choose to have them showing up on your dashboard or not. These are the ones that I currently have. If I wanted to move them up or down, I can do that just by clicking and holding. Additional widgets that are available are on that add widget. And so those are just things that you can customize. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but I did want to point it out to you. Now I don't want to save anything. And then this right over here, the little megaphone is just messages. So if you've got some messages there, which this is my test account, so there aren't any, but if I was an actual agent utilizing my Paragon Connect, I would have messages in there that I could review. Okay. So that's just a little bit of what you're looking at here. These are the widgets that I have set up. I've got unread content comments. These are unread comments from my buyers and sellers that I would be working with in Paragon Connect or the Collab Center. They're making comments and I can see it in my Paragon Connect. So that's really handy. We're going to start here just by working with a buyer first. So what you're seeing on your dashboard is showing you buyer activity in the last 7 days. It's telling me how often each one of the buyers that I have active in my Collab Center have been in and what they're doing. For this one, Kate Ferris visited the site twice. Jenny hasn't been on it and Karen hasn't been on it. You can see all of that. Then it's showing me the activity. They've got 3 favorites, 3 possibilities, 1 property they rejected, 2 comments there. So I know there's something there and I'm going to want to click in there and see what's going on because she looks like she's pretty active and probably ready to get out there and see some homes and make an offer and buy a house. So we're going to click on Kate right here and I'm opening up. This is what you're seeing as an agent. This is the agent side of the Collab Center. And from here, we're going to leave that and then we're going to start at the beginning with adding a contact. But I just wanted you to get a look to see what that looks like when you click in here. This is what you're seeing. You get an overview of what they're doing. This would take you into their searches, all of the things here. So let's go back and we're going to start at step 1, which begins with you have a contact. Maybe you were talking with that person on the phone. Maybe you met them somewhere. Maybe you did an open house and they weren't working with anybody and they really like you. And now you're going to help them buy a home. It all begins with getting them in as a contact. So to do that, you're just going to click on your main menu here and go down to contacts and you'll click on that. And if you've been using this and you've got contacts in your contact stuff, it's going to bring your contacts up. What you're seeing here is a list of the contacts that I have in here. And then these little icons here all represent different things that you have. So this is a phone number or for texting. This is for email address. And this wonderful little thing is representing the Collab Center. All of these are showing up as icons that are kind of lit up. They're black, right? So these are grayed out. This means I have information for each one of it. And then if it was grayed out here, this is just saying all I have here is a phone number. I don't have an email address and I don't have her using the Collab Center. I could scroll through here to look for a contact. I could search for a contact by clicking on the magnifying glass and start typing in the name that I'm looking for. Or I could set up some filters in how I wanted to search. Maybe I just want to see all of my inactive contacts. Or maybe I just want to see all my active contacts. How do I want that to start? Do I want it to start by first name or last name? Do I want it to start with A's first or Z's first? That's all customizable on how you want to work and how you want to see your information. But to add somebody, there's a plus button. Whenever you're in Paragon Connect and you see a plus, that simply means that you get to add some information to it. And I clicked on it. There's 3 required pieces of information here. You have to have a first name, you need to have a last name, and you need to have an email address. All the other fields are completely optional as to whether or not you want to complete them or not. And I am just going to go ahead and put in here my client. Her name is Annie. And then I'm going to put in her last name, buyer. Notification methods. Let's talk about that a little bit. First of all, it has a little eye with a circle. So that just simply means there's some information for you. And if you click on it, it's going to tell you. If you set them up for auto notifications, this tells you what it's going to do. They're automatically sent to the Collab Center to keep them informed about new matches and updates. If you set it up for agent preview, what that means is you are going to be reviewing each one of those properties and approving each listing before sending it to your prospective buyer via the Collab Center. This disables any property search features in your Collab Center though. So just be aware of that if you use that. I am going to use auto notification and then I'm going to add an email address and then add that in there. I could add, there's more fields available. If there was another person that they were searching with, I could add them. Just make sure if they want to get the emails that you turn this on. Otherwise, you can fill the information out, but without that being on, it won't send them notifications. I get that question a lot. That's all I'm going to fill in, but you have room for additional numbers. You have room to put in an address. You even have room to say, where did you find this information or any comments? It's 100% just for you. But all I have is her first and last name and her email address. That's all I have to have. So I'm going to save that. And while it's saving, I'm going to take this opportunity to ask you if you have any questions on anything that I've covered so far. I don't see anything in chat. Okie dokie. We're going to keep moving. You'll notice that after I clicked save on my contact, it now has brought me into my contact viewer for Annie Buyer. She doesn't have anything going on yet because I haven't set anything on yet, nor have I turned on her collab center. This is just saying, okay, I'm viewing, this is what you have for this contact. You will notice that it has right up here. Once they get going in Collab Center and start favoriting properties or rejecting properties, I'm going to start seeing some numbers on there showing me how many favorites she has, how many things she's marked as a possibility, or how many she's rejected. Then I have all the different things that are going on with them. If they're a buyer, I'm going to see buyer searches. Right now, you're just going to always see a recommended, because you can recommend a listing from wherever it is you're at in Paragon when you're looking at a property and you go, oh, wow, this is outside of the criteria I set up for Annie, but I really think that she would like it and it's in her price range or whatever, and you want to send it to her. All you have to do is hit the thumbs up and it takes you into a whole new thing. It'll ask you, who do you want to give it to? And it will show up in their collab center. But going back, if I set this person up as a seller, it's going to show that activity. The comments will be right in here. Yes, requested showings. They can ask you to show a house. If they're looking at a property, they're looking at that listing and they go, oh, wow, I've got to see it. They can click on request a showing and it will send you an email address. They can type up something in there and you'll get it by email so that you know they want to go see it. And of course, you can also look at the message history, which there isn't any on this one yet because I haven't sent anything to her yet. But if I had, it would show up right here. So there's your overview. It did give it automatically gave it a reverse prospecting ID. For those of you who are familiar with the reverse prospecting and have attended that class, then you know the system automatically assigns that. You don't have to make that up on your own. It does it for you. And it even keeps track of when you added them. So we have that. The icons up here. You've got email, you have phone number. You can throw this in the trash. You can edit it if you want to and add more information. So we're going to start with buyer activity by setting up a safe search. So you'll click on buyer activity, recommendations here, these three little dots. All that means is you have more options. I always like to see what they are. So I click on it. I can disable notifications for this. I can set up my email options, what they should be notified by, notification timeframes. I could resend the invitation once it goes, and I can manage any listings that they might have. I don't have anything set up for this person yet, so this isn't going to do anything, but I just wanted to show you that these are typical of what you're going to see at this portion on these tiles here in the buyer activity. Those are going to be options you have. But what we want to do is set up her search. So I'm going to hit the plus button. And it's going to ask me what class I want, and I want residential. So I select it. You'll notice it's keeping track in the upper left hand of how many results there are based on what I have in here, which is nothing. And those results aren't going to even be active because, again, we're using my training account, which is not a live site. So those numbers aren't even real. But I could set up a search by searching on map if I wanted to, by clicking on the map. And I could start setting up a search in here. Just easily getting in here. Where am I going? As I get closer in, I'm starting to see stuff. I could draw a little map and I could set that up and save it as a safe search that way if I wanted to, but I'm going to do it this other way first. I'm going to go with status. And of course, I want her to get the actives. I am going to unclick coming soon, no showings, and hold no showings, because as you know, those will not go out automatically in an email, and it doesn't show up in the Collab Center either. So if you leave those in there, the system's going to remind you to go uncheck those because you're going to get an error message. But I did it here. You could send them pendings and solds if you wanted to. That's 100% up to you, but I'm going to click apply. And then I would continue. Now, this is where you'll see that this is really a test environment because it's showing me, oh, just by doing that, there's 7 results. If I was in the real Paragon Connect, we would still have hundreds, wouldn't we? But you would continue to put in your criteria, price range. I'm just going to put in just some numbers here. They have a really wide price range there, but it's keeping track of that. There's still 7 results. I could continue to fill out bedrooms, bathrooms, garages, all the things. Maybe I need to jump down here to my secondary container where features are, because she insists that we have to have a walkout basement, and that falls under our features. So I just would start typing walkout, and there it is. I could check that box so that it only is going to send her properties that meet all of her criteria, including walkout basements. As you see, there's just 4 results there now. So if I was happy with my results, I could go ahead and click on save. I've got all these wonderful little options up here. Save, the little disc here, is what I'm going to save it for. And it's going to ask me to name it. And I'm just going to call it Annie's First Search. You can name it whatever you want. It's asking me to assign it to a contact. That's strange. And then I could do a personalized welcome message if I want. You don't have to put anything in here. It already has a default in there. When you send out that invitation or that first email, you don't have to have a personalized welcome message. It's totally up to you. What you do have to do is make sure that the Annie Buyer Collaboration Center button is on. And this is showing that it is on. If it looks like this, it means it's off. I want it to be on, but then I want to set up some settings here for her. So I want to change what kind of notification change types do I want her to see? There's all of these. I don't have open houses checked, but I do want her to get those. And maybe, when the initial photo gets uploaded, because sometimes those listings will be live and they don't have a photo, but because it just isn't there yet, they would get another email when a new photo got put in there. And then I could click on save and then timeframes. Timeframes. Well, how long do you want them to get messages and when do you want them to get messages? It automatically defaults for the day that you set it up to a year out. You can adjust that as needed. Maybe you just want to have it for, I don't know, 60 days, whatever it is you want to do. But for client notify frequency and agent notify frequency, you have two choices there. This is for clients. You have the option of turning it off, in which case, if you turn it off, they're not going to get any notifications on the search that we're setting up. If I want them to get one every time a property enters the MLS and meets their criteria, it will send them an email or a notification to their collab center. Or I could do recurring. And if I choose on recurring, I can choose the time and I need to set up, do I want them to get it every day at noon, or do I want them to get it once a week? Maybe they're not quite ready, but they're just wanting to get to know, what's happening in the market. You could set it up for one day, whatever day you want at a certain time, or you could set it up monthly. If you do monthly, they're going to get it on the first of the month, and it tells you that so that you don't have to remember that, but you can set that up. I want her to get these immediately. So I'm going to leave that on there like that because that's what it defaulted to. It's not asking me to save it, but if I were to have made a change, I would have had to apply it for that to happen. So I'm just going to leave that at immediately. This one right here, agent notification frequency. If you do not want to get doubled up on emails, this is where you would turn this off. It means you're not going to get the same email that it sends you. If you want to be getting that, then go ahead and set it up, and you can set it up however you want, immediately or recurring, the same way with the other one. But I'm going to turn mine off because I'm still going to get notifications anyway. I just don't want to be duplicated on here. So I'm going to shut that off and click save. And then make sure you save here, or it doesn't save any of that stuff and you have to start over. So click save, and there we are. Okay. So I want to go from here to viewing her collab center so you can kind of see what's happening there. You've got the different icons here for all the other things, saving or searching, or you got a phone call and you can't remember where you laid off. This will narrow that down for you and show you what you have filled out already. You could even do your last 5 searches if you wanted to. But I'm going to go back here to my contact and I'm going to look her back up. There she is. And see, this is turned on now. So now I can click on that and it will show me her collab center, what she's actually seeing. Now you're going to notice this tells you agent mode. This just means you are looking at her collaboration center as an agent, and anything that you do is going to change things. And for reminding you, if you click on the eye, it just tells you can explore their site freely without affecting any of the things that are in here and leave comments. If you do any other actions in agent mode, it'll be reflected in the site as the client. So if you like a property or whatever, it's going to show up as theirs. So it's just reminding you. So you can see that. You can see what she can search for. This is what they're looking at. If you guys had comments going back and forth, she could click here and view those comments. It's showing her any updates since the last time she was there. This is new, so it's there. New matches, it just breaks it down for them. Preserved listings. This one is the one that throws people. Preserved listings simply means that they have favorited it or said it's a possibility, and it was when they were just looking for properties. It wasn't within a search that they saved or a search that you saved. They were just looking here and went, oh, I really like that one. And so it keeps track of those in here. Anything that you've recommended to them, any of the properties, it's going to show up for them here. They can search for properties if they've been tagging the properties. Like let's say maybe they tag them, for sure want to see these. Maybe they make a tag that's called out of town properties. And you notice that you go, oh, I didn't know we were looking out of town. There's a clue. You can talk with them about that. So that's just that. They can do property searches based off what you've allowed them, and it takes them to a map search. So they could search for properties here if they wanted to. This is not a live Paragon Connect site, so there aren't any properties in there for them to see. They could go to the comments here and contact your agent. Oh, goodness. What is all this? This is the information about you that you set up in your settings. And I will be sure to show you where that is before we end this class today. I have all of my social media, so they could click on that if they wanted to, and it would take them to my social media. I put a personalized message in here. And then I've also got an additional resources tab. These are different websites that links that you could put in here that are available for your clients. Maybe you want to put your business partners, your inspectors in here, your title companies, any lenders, maybe police activity or the DMV. You've got, maybe you work with people that are coming in from out of state a lot. Those would be things that they could have. They could just click on that stuff and it takes them right to it because you've put the links in there. And I will show you how that gets done. They also can email you or call you or text you. So there's that. Okay. All that was just by clicking. Now, this for clients can be, it might, they're like, how do I work this? There is a client help available to them. If they click up on their main menu and go to help, Paragon has put together collaboration centers, help videos. They're super short, but it walks them through how to utilize the different things that are available to them. And what I like about it is it's an actual video showing them what to do rather than the old Collab Center just had an overlay of a map and it just had, this is what this is, and this is what this is. And that, in my opinion, wasn't very helpful, but this is an actual video that they get to watch. So they do have help for themselves as well. All right. Do we have any questions regarding their Collab Center or what you're seeing on your screen right now? Don't see anything in chat. Okay. All right. I'm going to close their Collab Center, what they're seeing, but I'm going to go back here to my Annie buyer and I'm going to click on her. And now I'm back into my contact viewer and I'm going to click on the buyer activity as an agent because this is what I'm going to see. And this is showing me all the different searches. So my recommended tile scooted over. And now that search that we set up for Annie's first search is right there. I could disable this. I can change her email options, all of the things. I could edit that search. I could delete it. Maybe they didn't get that email invitation. And so you want to resend it. All you have to do is click here and it will resend that invitation. You can also click on the key up here because they need that key code in order to be able to download and access the Collaboration Center app. And if you click on that, you can email it to them that way as well. Okay. So this search, there's 4 total. They haven't done anything with it. And it's just going to show you these are the properties that came up from them. You could change the view here by clicking on, I call this like it kind of looks like a comb, I guess, but that is your views. You can change the view to either be seeing by map or by spreadsheet. And they are going to be able to click on the pictures, but so can you. You can click on any of the pictures. I don't have any pictures on these, but they could by clicking on the media gallery and they can page through that. You could too. This is basic information. If you click on the tile, you're now going to see the property details. This is what you see as an agent. Now, let's say that you're looking at this and this property is not only a great property for this person, but maybe one of your other contacts. It would be a really great property and you want to recommend it to them. There's your recommend button. If you click on it, it's going to ask you, who do you want to recommend it to? You just choose it and click next. And you can put a message in here and click send and it'll go right to them. And then it's going to show up on their recommended tile that we saw a few minutes ago before we accessed this. I could also, if I can't remember who it is or I'm in a hurry, I could throw it in my listing cart. And if I do that, it's going to bring up any listing carts I've already got created, or I could create one right here. And I'm just in a hurry and I just want to save this one so I can look at it in detail later. So I click the plus button and name it what I want for later and click save. And now I can go back to that listing cart when I have time, and then I can go look at that listing and do what I want with it. I could also say, which one of my other clients would this property be a great match for? And click on my match. Oh, it's Annie, because that's who I'm working with now. But if I had others in here, it would bring their names up also, and I could send that on over to them if I wanted to. Okay. Any questions on the buy side? Okay. I don't see anything in chat. I'm not hearing anybody. So you have a more menu here as well. You can make a comment to your buyer on this property if you wanted to. You could say, maybe you notice they're having an an open house. They are having an open house or whatever it is you want to say, or let's go see this one on Saturday. And you could send that and it would show up in their collab center under comments from you. And then they could respond back to you. So you have that. They can have up to 10 different searches set up in their collab center at the same time. So maybe they're looking for a few different properties. Maybe they're looking for some investment properties and they've got some different areas that they're looking at. You can have 10 different searches set up to this contact that they could be seeing within that collab center. Now, there were some things that we went over when we were looking at their side, and we saw the welcome message, and we saw some social media icons, and we saw those additional resources. I'm going to show you where you can customize that and have that set up for you. And I do that by coming back to my dashboard and using my main menu and going to settings. Your profile is where you're going to click next. You can update your photo. You can make sure you have a texting phone number in here. Make sure that the numbers that you want them to see are all in there and are correct. If you don't have a texting phone number in there, you'll want to add one. If I were to make a change to that, I would have a save button that would pop up over here. This is where you add your social media links if you want to have them. Now, if you don't do social media, that's totally okay. You just don't put anything in there, and then those icons just aren't not there. So it's not like they see something and they click on it and nothing happens. It's just not there. But you would just put your links in here so that they could access it. So if you've got Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, you could put that in there. If you add something, it's going to have a save button over here. I also am going to be setting up my email stuff. So let's check on that. Just make sure you're verified. And I'm not verified. I'd want to send a verification email and then follow those instructions. And this is also where you get blind CC. If you want to auto populate that, when you send somebody an email out of here, it's going to automatically blind CC you so you get a copy. A lot of agents have this on and then they get copied again within the collab center. And so now you get 2 plus a notification. So you can turn this on so it's always on, and then you can customize that within the save search if you want to. I'm going to leave mine off. Okay, your story. This is where you're going to put any of your consumer facing items. So your story within the collab center, this is where you would put that. You can have a video. This would be off, but if you have a video that you have done letting your clients know more a little bit about you, your story video, you can put the embedded URL here. It can't be the shareable one. It's got to be embedded. If you put the shareable one in here, it's not going to work. But I have this on, and this is not a share. This is a shared link. I don't have the embedded URL. It's just simply there. So I remember to tell you that that's an option for you. And then you can type in whatever it is you want. You've got your controls as far as how you want that to look, very much like what you use in Word. You would type that in there and then click save. Once you've got it the way you want it, you do not have to put anything here if you don't want to. I did, and it just saves it. And then that is there. Now I'm going to hit my back button up here so I can see some more of these settings, because I want to then go into my collaboration center settings. What content do I want to display? So click on that. What do I want them to be able to see? Well, let's say I have a web page and I have another phone number. All of these I'm turning on if they were already highlighted like that, they're on, but maybe I don't want them to see that. You can turn it off if you want to. Once you have all of that set up the way you want, you would click save. And then I'm going to click the back button, additional resources. Remember that tab we looked at within the Collab Center, and it brought up all the different web addresses or things that they could click on and it would take them. And I was talking about maybe you want to have your inspectors in there. Maybe you want to have your title companies in there that you work with. This is where you put that information. You click on there. This is what I have in here. It's showing me. I can view that site and make sure it's still working. And I would recommend doing that, because one time I had somebody in here and they changed their URL and I didn't know it. And so it didn't work. But you can check it by just clicking on it. That's what that is. But to add one, you have to uncheck that plus button right down here in the corner. Hit the plus button, name it what you want it to be. And then you would need to, this is how I did it. I would just go to the website that I was wanting and then just copy that URL there, copy. And then I took it and take this HTTPS out, because when you copy it, it's going to put another one in there. And then that link won't work because you didn't delete it out. You'll have it twice. You do that and save it. And then make sure it does put it in alphabetical order here. And it shows up as the website, and then just make sure you view it to test to make sure that the link actually went in there properly. If you get an error message, go back and check your site here. I've checked it, and I click edit and it brings that card up again. And if I got a error message, it probably has 2 HTTPSs in there. And I tell you that because I've done that numerous times and now I remember it because I have done it numerous times. So that's checkable. And I would check this from time to time. You can let's say maybe somebody's not there anymore. You realized you had them in here twice. You can just check it and delete it. But that is where you put in those additional resources. And then you want to set up your buyer search settings, what they can search for. What do you want them to be able to search for? Residential properties, land, residential rental, auction. You're not going to have commercial. I don't know why I have it. I think it's because it's a test site. We don't have commercial properties in the MLS, this MLS. You can check which active ones you want them to see, or if you do or do not want them to be able to see pendings or solds, you can uncheck those. But you are in control of what it is that you want your buyers to be able to search for on your Collab Center. Once you've got that set up the way you want it, just click save. And then you have set up the Collab Center stuff. There's one other piece that you want to make sure that you get set up, and that is going to be your notifications here. So you will click on that. You're going to set up your notifications as well as their notifications. And this is within within the Collab Center. So you'll click on that. When do you want to be notified? These are, if this is off and this one's on, do you want to get notified anytime there's a new listing that meets your criteria, the criteria that you set up for your buyer? You would click that on. Do you want it for status changes? You would turn that on. Maybe you want open houses, want to be notified if they reject a property. All of these things are up to you. And then in the Collab Center, do you want to include comments in your notifications, or only the ones if there's 50 words or less, or comments if there's 100 or less? You choose what it is that you want to be notified within your Collab Center with your client. Once you have it set the way you want it, you would just click save. Then this is where you're going to set up what your clients are going to receive. Do you want them to receive a notification every time there's a new listing that enters the MLS that meets the criteria that you have set up for them, any status changes, the photos, all of this? You can determine if you want this as a general rule. Okay. You can customize this. Remember, you can customize that when you are working with your client. So this would be like your default for your clients. Okay. So that is that other piece of setting up your Collab Center, those behind the scenes things. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Okay. Sellers. We haven't talked about sellers. Wait. Before I go on with sellers, let's find out if there's any questions about anything that I've covered regarding the Collab Center for buyers or contacts or those settings. Any questions at all? Really, that was just a chance for me to take a drink. So, because I'm dry and parched from talking. Okay. All right. Well, we'll continue on and we're going to move on over to sellers. So you got a listing and you want your seller to be able to see what is happening with their property within the MLS environment. You can set them up in your Collab Center. So I'm going to click on my seller tab. Now, some of you, if you're doing this at the same time, you're probably getting a message telling you that seller tab is going to go away because Paragon is going to be changing some things. You're still going to be able to do all of this stuff. You just won't do it as a seller tab. There'll be a different way to get there. So just be aware of that. You'll see that I have 2 listings here. One of them has a Jerry Cobbs assigned to it. So I have assigned a property, this listing, to this contact that is in my contacts that I added. This one has not been assigned yet. So I want to make sure that I want my client to be able to see what is happening with their property on Collister. So I'm going to assign a client by clicking the plus button. And I start looking for my person and I'm not seeing them. And I don't really want to scroll. So I'm going to search. Uh-oh, she's not in there. Oh no, what am I going to do? Well, I've got to add her. So when I pop out of that search bar, it then brings my plus button back so I can add her. I don't have to go out of this into contacts, open up a thing and put her in there. I can do it right here where I'm at by clicking that plus button. I'm going to start adding her information. I don't want 2 capitals there. There we go. Ashley Seller. Again, your notification options. Do you want them to get the auto notifications or do you want to agent preview those and approve them? I'm just going to let it be auto. And if you're not sure, you see this and it throws you, because it will if you've not done this before, just click on the little information button and it will remind you. I could add more fields here if I wanted to. I could add more information. If there was a spouse and if they wanted wanted to be included on this as well, I'd make sure you click that on when you add the information. I'm going to turn that back off. Email, got to have it. It's no different. You've got to have first name, last name, and an email. And I'm going to put this one to seller so that I can set that up. That's all I need to put in there. Those are the three things I've added that you have to have, but you could add, again, all of the information, phone numbers, addresses, any general information, any notes you want to have in there. You can do that. You'll click save and you can type in a personal message before you send it out. This is going to send her a welcome email on her Sellers Collab Center. You don't have to put anything in here if you don't want to. And then this is where you're going to set up how often they're going to get an email update. I'm going to have this one be daily. You could set it up weekly. If you set it up weekly for seller, it's going to be on Monday. So if you set that up on Mondays, you might want to say something like, hey, every Monday, I'm going to give you a call that you're going to see your seller's activity report. And we're going to talk about the information that you're going to see there. Whatever it is you want to say, you can do that. But I'm just going to have them get this daily. And remember, you're defaulted because we set that up in your settings on when you're going to get emailed on here, but you can control that. So if you don't want to get this daily or weekly, you can turn it off on yourself. It's totally up to you, but click save. I think I'm going to have this one be on, and then I would click save. And now not only have I added Ashley to my contacts, her information, but I have also associated this property with her, which gives me some more options. This was already in here because the Paragon is keeping track of anytime anybody, if they're set up within somebody else Collab Center, even one of your other clients, and it meets the criteria of this property, it's going to show up in their Collab Center. And if they haven't done anything with it, it's going to be an undecided. If they've hearted it, that's going to be a favorite. If they've done a question mark for it, that's a possibility. And of course, if they thumbs downed it, that means they rejected it. But it keeps track of that. It never tells them who did it or what agents it was. It's just keeping track of it. So if somebody favored a property, the system goes, oh, 7425 Collister just got a favorite one. It just tracks it with a little hashtag. I have the more button, so I can click on that and I have more options. If I were wanted to change something on my listing and I had the ability to do that, some of you work for companies that provide you with an admin, and so they're taking care of your listings for you. But if you do all of it, then you could edit that. Maybe I assigned the wrong person. I got click happy and I accidentally clicked it. I could unassign them here. And then you can also set up those notification email updates as well. So let's say you needed to change it. They didn't want to get it every day. They wanted it weekly. You could change it. Or maybe you went, I really do not want to get an email every single day. I think I'm turning that off. You can do that. That's 100% up to you. And click save. But if I go back there, I can now view the seller statistics on what's happening with their listing within the MLS environment. Photos, if I had photos in here, would all show up right here, and they'd be able to click through the photos and click on the photo gallery. It's also going to show them what listing content that I have for them. So it's going to show that I have one photo in there. I've uploaded the associated documents, and it says it's got one document. If I had a video with it, it would show that. If I uploaded a floor plan, and it keeps track of all of that. Over here, it's showing some basic details on this property. It also keeps track of some seller activity here. It's been on the market for 3 days. We've had 2 requested showings. We have 2 open houses that are scheduled and 1 broker tour. If this was a real listing, we would have a graph here, and it would be showing agent views, prospective buyer views, and price changes. Now, I will tell you, coming soon, no showings is not going to be sent out through the Collab Center yet until it is able to take showings. So they're not going to probably see any prospective buyer views unless somebody has sent it to them manually. Because remember, we can do that. So there's that. And then it keeps track of that interest, how many times that a search has been saved for somebody else in here that has the criteria that matches this listing. It keeps track of it, whether it's an agent doing searches or a consumer doing a search looking for it. It's going to keep your information if they want to contact you. And then it keeps track of all the stuff that's happening, agent comments, buyer comments. Now, it doesn't tell them what it's being said about their property, and we're kind of glad about that sometimes. But it does keep just a little hashtag. Hey, an agent made a comment. Hey, a buyer made a comment. And we all know that the more conversations that are happening about a property, that's good, right? So that we're able to show that. It also shows them how many times their property has been shared in an email. It's not going to show shares by Facebook because our state laws are different, and we can't guarantee that it will be shared out there. We don't have you do that automatically. You can take your collab link and copy and paste it in there, and then make sure you have all your required disclosures in your post. So you have that, and then it's going to keep track of your agent remarks. It's also going to keep track of the property history, as well as they can view any competition. It lists it, shows it to them on the map, and it also has it down below so they can see that in either place. If they click on it here in the map, that opens up to the property details and they're going to see it and they can kind of compare it, or they can click on it down here as well and take a look at that. Okay. So they're going to see that and they'll be able to determine, how's their property doing in comparison to some of these others. Sometimes they have to see to believe what price they should be at, right? Sometimes we have that. We got to have seeing. They got to see it for themselves. So that's there for them to look. Now they can email you. They can call you. Your information is right there. Their collab center is going here and the invite is here. Now remember, this is your side that you're seeing. Okay. This is what you're seeing. Because remember where we were at. We were seller activity where it was assigned and it said view the stats. So that's what you're seeing. Click on their collab center and it's the same, shows up the same way. And it has all of this information in here for them to see. They have a search activity here. So this is the buyer stuff. So they could search for, maybe they're going to buy through you too. They could search for properties. If you set up searches for them, it's going to be there. And then when they have a listing with you, there's a My Property tab. And now all that information we were looking at together, they're going to see, and it's put together in a nice little viewable report here. Same stuff. Seeing is believing. All of it's here. They can call and text you. That information you put in about your agent, right here. There's those things. You'll notice that there was 4 spots for me to put in social media, and it's only showing 3 because I didn't put one in the 4th. So there's that. And then the additional resources. But sellers can now, you can show them what's happening and they can see it as far as what is happening in the MLS environment as well. Okay. That was a lot of information and I've got 4 minutes left and we got through all of it, including the settings. So I am going to open it up for questions from everybody.